good evening to everyone. Speaking to you from Olympia, Washington. And today's topic is going to be about American homes. How do Americans live? And please feel free to ask questions as we go. I'm going to keep speaking, but if you have a question or if you want to make a comment about something, be my guest. You're more than welcome to speak. So let me start the sharing screens. I've built a presentation that we're going to use for today. So let's put that up. And there we go, American homes. And Christy, I think this is your house, right? Oh, probably the one with the swimming pool, right, Christy? Is that your house?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
Perfect. So what we're going to talk about today are the different types of homes and also the different features. And I think, Alexi, you asked about that, right? You wanted to know how American homes are different than Ukrainian homes. So we're going to do our best to talk about that today. So there are many different types of homes. To start with, the more traditional one is the single family house. So one house, one family. And then a part of that is also something that you see more in America than you do in Ukraine. And it's called a manufactured house. And manufactured means it's built in a factory. And then it's actually transported by truck. There you go, Stas. By truck to the location at where it's finished. But most of the house is actually built at another location and then transported. So we'll show you what that looks like. There are also multi-family houses. So one house, but more than one family living in the house. And then part of that looks a little similar, but they're actually different in the way that they're built. And that's something called a town home. And I'll show you what that looks like. And then, of course, you all know about apartments. And we have lots of those here in America. And then ones that you don't necessarily have much of in Ukraine is what we call mobile homes. They're actually homes on wheels. Sometimes they're called recreational vehicles. And you'll see some pictures of those as well. So here we go. So here is your very sort of typical single family home. And you'll notice a few things that are different. Many houses in America have grass around the house. For some reason, Americans really like having grass all around the house. And you'll also notice that most houses have a garage, a place to put your car. And many of the garages these days are either they're large enough for 2 cars or even 3 cars, because many families now have 2 or 3 cars. So this is what you would see as you drive all through the different neighborhoods in America. Everywhere you'll go, you'll see houses that are not that different from what you see here. So here is what the inside of a house like that would look like. This is what we would call the floor plan. And you would almost always have some sort of covered porch, meaning a place to sit outside, but it has a roof over it so you don't get in the sun or in the rain. And then as you come into the entry, you would have, there might be bedrooms, bedroom 1, bedroom 2, bedroom 3, what they call the master bedroom, which is usually for the parents. It's a little bit larger. They would have their own bathroom with a shower and a closet to put their clothes. And then the other bedrooms would share a separate bathroom. So most of these houses have 3 bedrooms or maybe more than that, but usually 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Then you'd have a great room or a living room, a place to sit and relax. Then the dining room a place to sit and eat, and the kitchen. Usually next to the kitchen, there's a laundry room, a place to put your clothes washer and your clothes dryer. And sometimes there's also a small bed near that. And then, of course, the two-car garage is shown here. Usually, the back of the house, they'll have what they call a patio, or sometimes we call it a deck. And this is where you sit outside and maybe you have your barbecue, your shashlik, right? This is where you do that. And here's sort of that same house, but on their back, instead of having a patio, they have a patio, but they also have a swimming pool. And this is quite common in America. Many houses that Barbara and I have lived in many houses over the years. Americans like to move. We move on an average of every 7 years, we go to a different house. So Barbara and I have been in many houses, and we've had two houses that had swimming pools. And it was very nice in the summer. So here's a traditional log cabin, they call this, a log cabin style house. And you see these in Ukraine too. I've seen these as I've traveled through Western Ukraine.
Yeah, mainly like in Carpathian Mountains and,
yes.
and forth.
Yes, very much so. I remember visiting a beautiful little town up in the Carpathian Mountains several years ago, and I saw a number of houses that looked like this. So here's a house that's very different. It's in the desert, in the Southwest desert. And you'll notice, if you look carefully, there's no grass because there's no grass growing in the desert. So instead, they use this rough stone. Sometimes it's stone or just dirt, the desert dirt. And you'll see the house is made out of the same dirt. They use this type of house or this type of dirt to create sort of like a cement, and the house is built from that dirt. It's called stucco. Maybe you've heard this word before. So you'll see a lot.
Like clay?
Yes, you'll see a lot of houses in the desert Southwest made of this material. Americans love to have their clothes washer and their clothes dryer. And this is a difference between the two countries. Almost any house you go into, you'll find the clothes washer and the clothes dryer. And usually they have a small room for it, or it's in a part of the house where there's plenty of room to wash clothes. This is our house. This is where Barbara and I live. And this is Ozzy, our great Sobaka. And I showed you this picture to show you that a lot of houses in America like to have all this grass around the house. It's very different than what you would find in most parts of Ukraine. Oh, and you can see on this picture our view of Mount Rainier. You see this mountain back here. This is that great big volcano that we get to see on a sunny day. And this is our house at Christmas time.
Nice.
Yeah, and this is inside of our house. This is in my living room. And you can see Ozzy here. He's pretty happy. And this is sort of the traditional Christmas tree that we had this year. Okay, so now we move on to garbage and recycling. So most houses in America, the government has a service where they come by and they pick up the garbage, and they also pick up the recycling. In other words, those things that you don't want to necessarily throw away that can be reused. So cardboard, glass, plastic, metal, cans and things like this, that can be reused. And so they have containers. Every house is given containers that have wheels. And they keep these in their garage during the week. And then on a special day, they know the day that it is each week, they wheel these containers out to the sidewalk, out to the end of the road or out to the end of their driveway where the road is. And they leave them just like this. You'll notice that all of these containers have a little bar on them. See this little bar? And they all are facing out toward the street. That way, the special truck that comes picks these containers up and empties them automatically into the truck. So it doesn't require another person to do it. So on garbage day, that's what we call it in America, garbage day. So whatever your day is, you wheel these containers out. The truck comes by during the day, and it automatically empties each container into the garbage. So they have a truck for garbage, they have a truck for recycling, and in many cases, they have a truck for yard waste, meaning things from your garden, from the grass that you cut, anything that can be reused in that way. So you'll usually see in our neighborhood, we have 3 trucks that go by every week and do this. And again, this is our house again, but just to show you, so we have a lot of grass to cut. And because we have a lot of grass, we need to have lawn mowers. And these lawn mowers are different sizes, depending upon how large your area is around your house, how much grass you have to cut. And you'll see that this is a smaller lawnmower. Then we have the larger version, lawn tractor. And you'll see here a familiar face to a few of you on the call. This is Marina Koshkina from Kirovograd when she visited us a few years ago. And she's driving my lawn tractor. This is my yard. And so she is enjoying what that's like to cut the grass at our house.
It's already like a lawn combine.
Yes, yes, yes. And of course, lots of swimming pools. When you visit the America, you'll see lots of houses love to have a swimming pool. And they also love to have their barbecue grill for cooking outdoors. For some reason, Americans love to cook outdoors, and they love to sit outdoors in their porch. You'll see this porch here with a place to sit. This is very, very common in America. Lots of porches. Almost every house has some sort of covered porch with chairs and places to sit, either out of the sun or out of the rain. And as we showed you earlier, they like to have this backyard deck, they call it. And this is a nice deck. It's raised off the ground. Some of it is usually has a covering if you want to get out of the rain or out of the sun. And this is, you'll find this on, you'll see all these houses here. Almost every house has some sort of backyard deck. And this is one of our backyard decks. That's off the back of our house. You know, so we have chairs, we have a bench, and this is a little fire pit. It's a place you can build a fire. And it's nice on a cool evening to sit outside and have a fire and, you know, tell stories. So yes, the barbecue grill, and you can see they have it right next to their swimming pool. So they might invite friends or family over to the house. They might have a little shashlik and have swimming. And this is the typical American way to spend the weekend. So we talked earlier about these manufactured houses, and they're quite common in America. You'll see quite a few of them. You'll see them going by on these big trucks. They're enormous trucks. And sometimes it's a single house on a truck, and sometimes they're in 2 pieces or 3 pieces. And then they're put together at the location that the house is going to be. And you'll see them, yeah, going down the road, these enormous, yeah, it's unbelievable when you see these houses going down the road on a truck. And you'll see this house, yeah, it's crazy. And you'll see there's two of them. There's two trucks here carrying this house that's in two pieces. And when they arrive at the location, they will put these houses together and construct it. So here's a mobile house that's been finished, all put together, all done. And it looks like another house, but this one came on a truck. So we talked about different types, and here's a multi-family house. So it's a pretty large house, but you'll see that it's been divided for 3 different families. Each has a garage, each has a little porch, and each has an entryway. And on the back of the house, they each have a little patio or a little deck to have their barbecue and their shashlik. So this is, you'll see, this is very common in America. It's a lower cost, you know, not as expensive. So for a family that is just starting out, maybe young families, you'll see many of them going into multi-family houses.
What is the price for such a house?
Yeah, great question. So these prices are usually about half of what a big house would be.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends, and we're going to show you later, a little later in the presentation, we're going to look at how the prices are different in different parts of the United States. They have a huge change in prices depending upon where you are. So different states have different prices for their houses. So you'll remember that next one we talked about. So these are town homes, and you'll see it's a long, long building with lots of small homes on each, set up separately for each family. So they have a garage, they have a little porch, they have the upstairs where the bedrooms are, the downstairs is where the living room and the kitchen, and then of course on the back of them are their little deck, their little place to put their barbecue grill and so on. So this is the same idea. It has the same features, Alexa, you know, that you talked about, but it's in a, you know, lower price, a little more, you know, put together, a little closer, not as much room, but it's still something that you could afford if you were a young family. And of course, lots of apartments, and they come in all different shapes and sizes. Some of the buildings are old, some of them are new. This doesn't look all that different. You know, this is sort of a classic apartment building that you would see in many parts of the United States. Yeah, lots of apartment buildings. And then this last one we talked about, mobile homes. And these are amazingly common in the United States, particularly for people of my age, people who are retired, pensioners. They sell their house, they say, no more house, and they buy a mobile home. And they live in this mobile home, and they drive to different parts of the United States, depending upon the weather, depending upon what they want to see. They visit those national parks that we talked about a few weeks ago, and they live in this mobile home. And many of them are really quite nice. You'll see the inside of these. They're beautiful, you know. And this is what the inside of what these mobile homes look like. So yeah. Duże nepogano, tak?
We will live it forever, you know.
Yeah, they have every convenience, you know, televisions and air conditioning, and, you know, you can cook in them, take a shower, obviously sleep in them. So these are becoming more common in the United States. And here is the what we call the floor plan of one of these mobile homes. And you can see they have a large bed. They have some smaller bunk beds, we call them. Microwave, cooking area, sink for washing your dishes, place to sit and eat, a sofa to sit and relax, a refrigerator, a pantry, a shower, the bathroom here. It's all built into this mobile home. So yeah, it's something that's becoming more common here in the United States. And of course, we have these things that we call housing developments. So because the United States is so new, much of it has never been developed before, they come to an area and big companies come in, they plot where the roads are going to be, where the schools, where the shopping, and they design the community. You'll see here, there's office buildings here, there's a school here, there's all these things. So they build the area and then they build all the houses. And the whole area is built, maybe 10 years ago, there was nothing here. And now there's a new community with houses and shopping and schools and roads and everything that you would have in a town. So these are quite common, particularly in the western part of the United States. You'll see many housing developments. And going with that are what we would call retirement communities or pensioner communities. These are people who are finished working and they have a pension each month that they are living on. And they have communities that are built just for pensioners. You have to be 55 years or older to live there. And so everything is very nice and clean and taken care of. Many of them have access to a golf course. This is a golf course, to play golf. They almost always have swimming, and then they have other recreation in the area. And so you'll see many of these retirement communities. In Florida, you'll see them. You'll see them in Arizona, in Utah, in Nevada, in California, places where it's warm, where you don't have snow. And here's another retirement community. And you can see they're usually built around the water. So there's water sports and there's golf courses. This is a golf course that goes through the area. So very unusual, it's really different. So what I want to show now is after we've done the presentation, I've also put up a website that I'm going to put up here. Let me see if I can get this started. And okay, can everyone see this? I think can you see this? Everyone can see this now, this website?
No, it just shows that presentation right now.
Oh, I see. Okay, so let me add that. Thanks, Stas. Okay, so let's put this up. Okay.
Yep.
Can you see that now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what this is there are, as you can imagine, there are websites that show all the houses that are for sale in a particular area. And also there are websites, and this one is a great one. If you want to do your own research on houses, it's called Zillow, Z-I-L-L-O-W. And it has every house that's for sale in the United States. It's the entire United States. And you can search just like any other website. You can search by, the state or the location or the size of the house. So it's great to get an idea of what these houses look like. Alexei, you would love this site. This is a great site for you to visit.
We have the same site in Ukraine.
I'm sure.
It's called Dom Ria, and we can search homes.
perfect. So this will look familiar to you. So I've saved a few houses to show you. And so let's start with this one. So let me just open this up. So here's a house that this one is located, I think in, I can't remember where this is located, but anyway, we'll look at it. It's a 5-bedroom house. It has 5 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and a 2-car garage. And of course, it has to have the grass around the front. And you can see here, let me just keep this moving here. Whoops, let me go back. Here we go. And you'll see the backyard, they have their swimming pool, and they have a porch that's covered with little fans. So this must be in a warm area. I'm assuming this is in Arizona because it's probably hot weather, so they have a place to get out of the sun. And you'll see they play swimming pool basketball. They set up their basketball hoop in next to the swimming pool. So while you're swimming, you can play basketball. That's a pretty good idea. But yeah, here are the inside of the house. And of course, all these will have, they'll have a sort of similar views of inside the house. Let's go to another one. Let me just get rid of this one. And let's go to a larger one. And this one is actually in my town of Olympia, which is where I live. Yeah, let's open this up. And you can see this house is a little larger. And one of the features it has is it has a 2-car garage, but it also has a separate 3rd garage number 3. Many houses are finding out, many people are finding out that 2-car garage is not large enough. They need to have a 3rd garage to put other things in. So their lawnmower, their gardening equipment, and bicycles, and all of these things. So you'll see more houses now have this 3rd garage that are being built. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. These houses just keep getting larger and larger. So here's the inside of that house. Here's the living room. Here's the kitchen. And here's the refrigerator. And many houses have this, what they call a cooking island. It's in the center of the kitchen. What do you think, Christy? Would that be okay for you?
Oh, 100%.
Not bad.
Not bad. It's my kitchen.
Yeah, it's your kitchen. Hey, it's perfect.
Dream kitchen.
Yeah, dream kitchen. So yeah, so you get the idea. So lots of rooms. And then let me go back to we'll go back to the favorites. I'll show you a few more. You'll see that we have a number of houses in the United States, like you do in Ukraine, that are built from brick instead of wood.
Mm.
So here's a larger house that's made from brick. And this one is in the center of the United States. It's in Toledo, Ohio. And again, got to have the grass around the house. And you'll see they have a garage next to the main house. So let's look at these pictures. This is a pretty nice house. You'll see it's got a big yard, a big grass area.
And the price is twice lower than the previous one.
Yes, and you saw that, Stas, and we're going to look at that in a minute because it's in a part of the country that the prices are lower. So in the state of Ohio, which is in the center of the United States, it's not near the ocean, it's not near the mountains, it's not in the warm climate. It's sort of in an area that people would rather not live. So the house prices are lower. So this is a very nice house that has a fairly low price compared to some of these other houses that we were looking at. But you can see it's a beautiful house with these beautiful wood floors. Yeah, really nice. Wow, huge living room. Fireplace. Lots of houses have a fireplace in America. And I think it, oh yeah, it has this beautiful wood, what they call a study. Yeah, it's a beautiful house. And I think it has a great kitchen, Christy. Let me
Looks
go
like
to,
it's old one.
yeah, a little older. But yeah, oh, a nice kitchen.
Mhm.
Yeah, not bad. And you can see they have their deck, you know, their back deck or back porch. So yeah, you can get an idea of what these houses look like. We have all different types. I've got just a few more to show here. This one is also in the area that I live in the state of Washington.
The price. Mhm.
Yeah, this is a pretty nice house, but you can see it's on not a big piece of land, but it's very expensive. It's almost $1 million. But it's in an area that's not far from Microsoft. You know where the Microsoft company is located.
Mhm.
This is very close to Microsoft. So if you work for Microsoft and you wanted to be close to your job, this is where you would live.
You can buy couple houses here in Kirovograd for the same price, basically. But when it's on the way to Bobrinets, so there are like new houses that are built by rich people. So the vet doctor for my cat, he said that he was in one of those houses on the call, and they said that they bought that house for like $2 million in Kropivnitsky.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's ridiculous. If I had $2 million, I would never buy the house here in Kropivnitsky. I would just buy it somewhere in the United States, spend like $500 for the investor's visa, and just live there.
Yes, and just live
What
there.
is the point?
Wow.
Well, you can see here, this is a pretty nice house inside. It's pretty spacious. So this Microsoft person is probably doing just fine. Thank you. And nice big kitchen. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, great.
And I'll show you. I've saved two more in particular to show you. One is, well, I'll show you this now. So this is a house that, believe it or not, Barbara and I owned for a long time. Barbara's sister and brother owned it with us. So it was all of us together owning this house. And some of you, Christy and Stas, you might know about this. We had a beach house in California that we used for our vacations and holidays. And it was in Los Angeles on the beach in a place called Malibu, California. So Malibu Beach is a pretty famous beach. And it has lots of movie stars and, you know, celebrities that live on this beach. So this is the house that we had for many years, and we sold it a few years ago. We no longer own this house. But I wanted you to see what the house looks like, and you can see what the beach looks like there. So here's the house, and this is this little house, and you might look at it and say, oh, well, it's not that big a house, and it isn't. But the house isn't what the value is. The house is that it's right on the Pacific Ocean. It's right on the beach. So it's all about the location of the house. And as you can see, what a great view from the deck on the house. And so I had this view for almost 40 years. We used to visit this house all those years. And it looked like this every time you went to the beach house. Yeah, great place to walk on the beach. And this is the entrance from the roadside, and a little place to sit in the shade. And this is inside the house, looking out toward the ocean. And this is our dining room and the kitchen. Yeah. So the house is actually not as large as these houses that we've been looking at, but because it's on the ocean, oh boy. And this house is now valued at more than $6 million.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really expensive.
Can you explain?
But you
Excuse me. Can you explain this price? So $6 million is to buy it forever, or just loan for forever? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you for asking, Christy. That's a super question. So in America, when you buy a house, you own it forever. You buy the land. The land is part of the house purchase and the house itself.
Mm-hmm.
So the land and the house now belong to you forever. Yeah. The only way that the house can be taken from you is if you don't pay taxes on the house.
Mm-hmm.
In America, everyone has to pay a property tax each year for living in that house.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the higher the value of the house, the higher the taxes are. So it would be hard to live in a $6 million house because taxes would be very high. But that's a great question, and let's look at the prices since we're talking about that. I think I can show you. Oh yeah, here's a picture just to show you swimming pools. So here's a aerial view looking down at a neighborhood, and you see all the swimming pools here. Everybody has a swimming pool. So you can see swimming pools are quite popular in the United States. Well, anyway, so let me come back.
Can I ask?
Sure.
These all homes, they are for sale in one place?
I'm sorry, Alexei, what was your question?
These all homes on this map, they for sale in one place or in different places?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's a good question. They're not all for sale. It shows you the value. If it was for sale, the approximate price that you would pay. Most of these houses are not for sale, but this one, for example, if I adjust this map a little bit, let me just let it refresh. Yeah, so this one is for sale. So here's a house that is for sale because it's marked with that red dot. But this just shows you the value of each house if it was for sale. If the owner said, oh, I'm going to sell my house, this is what it would approximately sell for. But you can see everyone has a swimming pool in this part of the country. So here's this map I wanted to show you. It's really a cool map. And what it shows, I'm just going to adjust something on my computer. What it shows is it shows the value, the average value of a house in each state. So the lighter colors, you can see down here, the lighter colors are lower price and the darker colors are higher price. And you can see there's a huge difference in prices. So here in the state of Mississippi, for example, the average house would cost $126,000. The average house in Colorado is $412,000, almost 4 times as much. In California, it's more than 5 times as much. And in Hawaii, if you want to live in Hawaii, it's more than 6 times as much.
And the cheapest one is Virginia?
Virginia is expensive. Yeah, Virginia is about almost 300,000.
Oh, that's not the one from like to the left a bit.
Oh, to the left here, West Virginia. Yeah, West Virginia is very cheap. Yeah. They have a very poor economy there, not many jobs. It's a very difficult place to find a good job to make a good salary. So to buy a house there is not much. If you want to live in Virginia, or West Virginia, you can. You just won't be able to find a job.
Yeah, but you will go. Yeah, you will go to job to Pennsylvania or Maryland.
Yeah, drive somewhere else. So you can see in these southern states, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Alabama, their prices are very low. But in the Northeast, where there are more businesses, you'll see here in Massachusetts, 439,000. In Connecticut, lower, 262. In New York, 331. So you can see they're all different. In my state, it's quite high. The average house is $431,000. So it's very interesting. You know,
And what about Wisconsin and Minnesota?
Yeah, let's look. So Minnesota, 266, and Wisconsin, 206.
Not bad.
Not bad. Yeah.
But we don't have it.
Right. Right. Right.
Have money.
So this is an interesting view of how, you know, there are huge differences in the prices of houses. For example, if you lived in the center of the country, you can see the prices are fairly low here. It would be possible for you to buy a nice small house for even under $100,000, maybe $80,000 or $90,000, which is still a lot of money, but not bad.
You mean middle is like between Ohio and Kansas?
Correct. Yeah. But you know, if you wanted that same house, if you wanted to buy it in Washington, it would cost 3 times as much. So it really shows you that prices there are huge differences depending upon where you live.
We will stay
So,
in Kansas or Missouri.
Yeah. Right. Right. So that's it. I wanted to keep it shorter today because I know we ran over last time, but that's sort of a real quick idea of houses in America and how different they are. And so I have a question for Alexei, since this was his idea. Alexei, what do you think? Does this look like you expected, or is it very different?
I knew about the types of homes: town, family home, many family homes.
Yeah.
And the prices.
I know that price of homes in America very high.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's obviously the difference is due to the fact that we have higher salaries. You know, you have a higher amount of money that you're making each week or each month. The average salary, for example, for a teacher, if you were a teacher, for example, Christy, let's say you were an English teacher here in America.
Yeah, okay.
The average salary would be probably about $50,000 a year.
In United States, you mean?
Yeah, in the United States. So, you know, so you would make maybe $4,000 a month or something like that, which is a lot of money compared to Ukraine. But you can see the house price is much, much higher. So, yeah, so you have a higher salary, but you also have a higher cost of living as well.
We still need money for electricity, water, everything for living, for the food.
Yes.
Just copy.
Yes. Yeah. So buying a house is only part of the expense. Yeah, you have electricity, you have water, you have taxes, You have maintenance of the house, you know, to care for it. So yeah, so all of these things are a part of it. But I hope that's helpful.
And what is that?
Good, yeah.
What is the average bill like for utilities, gas, electricity, and heating, water?
Yeah, as you might imagine, there's a huge difference also. Depending upon where you live, different areas have different utilities. For example, where I live in Washington, we have really low prices for electricity because we have a lot of big hydroelectric dams that produce the electricity. So we have big rivers with these dams. So the electricity prices here are about the lowest in the United States. Because of that, many of the big companies that have these locations for their servers, for their computer servers that require electricity for air conditioning, they're located in the state of Washington. So Facebook, Google, Microsoft, you know, all these companies have these big buildings out in the deserts out here that have very low electricity prices. So yeah, you will drive through the desert and see this enormous low building full of computers, servers for their company. But the electricity prices are so low here, they can afford to run them at a lower price. So yeah, the prices vary. In the state of Washington, we probably pay about $100 a month for electricity, maybe a little less than that in the summer and a little more in the winter.
Wow.
Yeah, so it varies. It really varies. It can be as much as $300 or $400 in California. You know, so there's a great big difference depending upon where you are in the United States.
Great. Thank you.